We're good.
We're good. All right, I will call. Roll call, please.
Mr. Knopf,
Here.
Mr. Creedy,
Here.
Mr. Rivera.
Here.
Mr. Roos is present online. Ms. Rivera,
Here.
Mr. Zazarino. Here.
Notice of this meeting was provided to the Bernardsville News and Courier News, filed with the municipal clerk and posted on the municipal bulletin board on December 5th, 2024. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States. Thank you.
Welcome to the January 27th, 2025 meeting of the Bernardsville Borough Council. This meeting is being conducted in person in the council chambers in Borough Hall, being broadcast live on YouTube and on Zoom to make it as convenient as possible for residents to attend the meeting. Members of the public who are here in person and those attending remotely on Zoom will be given the opportunity to comment at appropriate times during the meeting in accordance with the following guidelines. Members of the public will be allowed to speak during the open sessions and during formal public hearings on the agenda, including public hearings on ordinances. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker, which will be monitored and enforced by the borough clerk. Comments containing offensive, profane, or indecent language or language constituting hate speech will not be permitted. Remote participants will be muted unless they're unmuted by the clerk, and remote participants will not be able to unmute themselves. The clerk will mute remote speakers at the expiration of their 3 minutes of allotted time, or if they make any inappropriate or offensive comments. All speakers, whether in person or on Zoom, shall state their name and address before making their comments. Speakers on Zoom shall activate their cameras so that they can be seen by members of the governing body and audience. Failure of the governing body to provide a live broadcast of this meeting or technological problems encountered during the course of the meeting that affect remote viewing and or participation will not invalidate this meeting or any action taken, including but not limited to the adoption of any ordinance, resolution, or motion. Okay. And we have a special presentation tonight. Patron and Seven Seals Award. So, gentlemen, if you would like to, actually, if you kind of stand on the, there, so that our audience.
Feel like I'm at the NCO and make a presentation. It's on the stage. So anyway, I'm retired Command Sergeant Major Art Maggs. I am the regional chair for Central New Jersey for the Department of Defenses and Forest Guard and Reserve. Okay, we're here tonight because Petty Officer Maliski, okay, just so I get it right, thank you. Of course. Put a number of people in for an awards that he works with here within the borough, okay, if I have it right, it is a borough, it is, okay. And so what we're gonna do is make some presentations. I understand one person is not here tonight, so I will leave it with you and you can get it to her. There's a document here that can be put into your bulletin board. It just says you're a military friendly borough and you have military people that work within the borough. And that basically, it's a non-binding article, it stays with you. You sign it, do whatever you want to. And then we have 2 other awards that were given out. There was another one that our vice chair put into the mix of this that I didn't know about until I looked at it this afternoon. And I said, oh, okay. So we'll take it from there. So.
May I interject?
Sure.
So just to give you the background of this whole thing, so several years ago, I began this journey of joining the Coast Guard because I wanted to not just serve my community, but my country. And you, as a group, whether it was the council, the chief, the administrator, have been so supportive of me throughout that process. I was very lucky back in 2018 and was named the Reserve Enlisted Person of the Year for the entire Coast Guard. Your body, governing body, honored me with a proclamation. Years later, when you found out that there was a discrepancy in pay when I was on active duty for more than 30 days, you did the right thing and helped fix that discrepancy. I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. It meant a lot to me and my family. So this spring, when I was deployed for the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse, I was encouraged by commander who was in charge of my unit that this is a very nice way to honor you for your support of me throughout the years. And I do appreciate that support, and that's why we're here tonight.
Okay, so following through on your protocol, we're based at Fort Dix, New Jersey, okay, the joint base, McGuire Dix Lakeford. And the only reason I say Fort Dix is because when I say joint base, McGuire Dix Lakeford, everybody looks at me really strange, like, where is that place? Never heard of it. So anyway, we're at Fort Dix, we have an office down there, we have a full-time person that mans that office for us and all that stuff. I have retired Sergeant Major Greg Scepter here, he's the director for our ombudsman that talks with people that ask questions and resolves, does mediation resolving issues between civilian employers and the military personnel. So it's non-binding, we don't get involved with lawyers, nothing personal. But what we do is we inform, educate, and we mediate, okay? And that's basically it. We want you to understand the federal law, and we want the service member to understand the federal law. But we encourage them, you know, if you have a question, ask. If you have a question, you're more than well, you go and ask questions too. It's no deep dark secret with this whole thing. It's a federal law and it's designed by US Department of Labor, the military and employers. So it's out there. So that's basically it to that. So we'll get into the awards so you can get on with your meeting here. We have a Patriot Award for the Chief of Police, okay? Which Petty Officer Polisky, I got it right? You did. Okay. Thanks. Put it on the floor. There you go. Okay, let's get here. Get here. We gotta take pictures.
Yeah.
Only reason is because Greg and I gotta prove we do something. The whole night, so.
Always gotta go quickly too. 3, 2, 1. Over here. 3, 2, 1. Thank you.
Listen, the men and the women of this country do the hard part. We're just glad that this is what we can do, what we can do to assist in keeping this country safe and the greatest country in the world. We do the hard. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief. Okay, so. The next one. Sorry, you're already up here. There you go. Is for the mayor, Mary Jane Knows. Getting better all the time. Okay, get you in for a Patriot Employer Award, okay? And it's a pin that goes with it that you can wear. And that, and there you go. Come on, stand in the center here. You gotta stand in the center. What's nice about being a community sergeant, right? Push people around, even if I'm retired. We appreciate it.
And, you know, we're so happy that you do what you do and really, we appreciate it.
I appreciate it as well.
For the
So, where we at here? Okay. Lou. Chief, you sat down too quick, you gotta come back.
No speech.
What I was explaining to you before, about awards, since the 7 Seals Award goes to the police department, okay? That he put you all in for, to say thank you for everybody in the police department for supporting him while he was on that community deal with it. Sure. So anyway. Let's see, I guess you gotta come back up here again. Is there?
This is,
So this is the entire council here?
One on.
Yeah, sure. So we'll let you roll. Okay. It's an above and beyond award that he's saying thank you to the whole borough council for their support. And he's on active duty, doing whatever the Coast Guard gives him as a mission to do with his group and that, so. Sure. Here, you didn't hear. I'm gonna get to the edges. I'm gonna get on the edge. There you go. Great. I got from the law. Of course. Thank you, sir. Thank you. He's not here, so I'm gonna give this to,
Yeah.
This is done, okay. That's an evil reflect. Make sure we leave it. And what it does is it looks at the document. Then once I'm voting for, it says the military friendly. Personnel on the trade. Where you want to do it?
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thanks all for your support. Appreciate it. Yeah.
And if you forgive me and excuse me, I'm getting this uniform off.
Gonna ask you, Francis,
Okay. Yeah,
That's cool.
All right, as many of you know, we had, Chad had resigned from the council due to his extreme work conditions, and he's in Philadelphia, Morning in Bernardsville. So, we had an opening and we asked the Republican committee in Bernardsville to come up with 3 candidates that, the council will interview. I'm going to give them each some time to talk, and then we will go in the back room, make a decision, come back out, announce whoever they select and swear them in, and they'll come up here and sit. So we'll start with what I'm going to ask the 3 of you to do is take a, 3 to 5 minutes, tell us a little about yourself and why you would like to be on the council and what you feel you can contribute. And then I'll open it for the council to ask questions. So hopefully it won't take too long. Should go alphabetically, we'll be there. Okay, so this is Bert. They're pretty close, actually. I know. Yes. Fine.
My name is Mike Spangler. I live at 24 Dayton Crescent with my wife Anne Marie. I've been a resident of Burnsville 12 years. Although I'm not a stranger to Burnsville because I've been coming here since I was born in 1955, as my family's been in Burnsville for about over 100 years. I go back 4th generation. I'm interested in being on the council because there's a lot of work that needs to be done. You take care of the old stuff first, and then you work on the hard stuff. You do the easy stuff first, and you work on the hard stuff next. I walk around and I talk to a lot of people, and they come up to me and they tell me there are some problems that need to be addressed. Number one, they always insist, and everybody knows in Burnsville, traffic speeding is a problem. I have the time, I'm retired, I have the time, so anything I can do with problems or any suggestions that people give to me, I'll look into them and research and do the best I can to get back to the people. I want the whole community to be benefit from any decision that I would make on the council, because the quality of life in Burnsville is important to everybody. And whether you're 1 month old or 110 years old, you're still a resident in Burnsville, and you need to be here and live here and enjoy what Burnsville can give to you as a citizen. So that's why I'm interested in being on the council. So I know you're gonna have questions and my opinions about redevelopment and things like that. So I'm ready to face the music.
Questions?
Are we in questions now or the?
So,
For Anna?
yeah, for Anthony. Anybody?
I'll start. Yeah, so obviously you talked about redevelopment. I would love to hear what you think are the top 2 issues facing the community and maybe your high level thoughts right now on what needs to be done to address them.
Well, number one, like I said, up where I live, speeding is definitely a problem, because they come off of Mount Airy Road, they're going 30 miles an hour. They get on Dayton Crescent, they're doing maybe 35, and then they go down to Liberty, they're doing 50. We have a lot of young kids up there. One thing I think the town needs to do, and I think they did a study on Wesley by the high school, but to me, that's not an area that needed to be studied. They need to study the speeding on like Liberty and Dayton Crescent, and maybe put in traffic cameras when they can do it, to slow down the speeding of these cars, because somebody is gonna get killed someday. And I don't say that as in jest. Somebody is gonna get killed. I mean, 2 years ago, what I did, my wife and I, we went to the town and we put in an application on Halloween to stop the traffic from coming up there, and we did it last year too. In 2023, we had 800 and some trick or treaters. Last year, we had over 900. There was no incident. And so, but the year before, cars were coming in and out, they weren't gonna slow down or stop. And, you know, we're lucky nobody got hurt or killed. But speeding, not just in that area, but other people tell me in other parts, is definitely a problem in Burnsville. Number 2, redevelopment. It's nice to redevelop and develop property in Burnsville, however, when a developer comes to you, I know the Palmer project, they offered a pilot program, the pilot deal to the developer. My opinion is, if a developer wants to come in and he wants a pilot deal, what he needs to do is he needs to say, okay, what does the town want from me? And the town should say, well, instead of giving us money to the town, which the town takes, all the residents don't benefit from that. What the town should say is, here's what we want from you as part of a pilot deal. We want either a new fire truck, which costs over $1 million, a couple of police cars, ambulance, or maybe if they're gonna dig somewhere and tear up the road, maybe they can repave where they're working. However, before a redevelopment project is done, they need to look at the infrastructure of the sewer and the areas around where they're gonna be. And they also need to keep their structure at a certain level, and the style needs to be within the style of the town now, because you don't wanna have a 20-story building that's all fancy that sticks out like a sore thumb. And, you know, I know you're working on the Palmer project, I know it's been going on, but the thing is, you have to take the people what they think. If they're gonna build a big structure next to me, I want it to look like the structure that's next to them before it goes up. I don't want anything fancy. I want it to look the same, Because, again, Burnsville is an historic town. You want to keep the history of Burnsville alive when they build. You don't want flashy lights and all this and that going on. So that's my point with redevelopment.
Thank you.
Can I ask maybe your like normal work experience from where you're retired?
I started, well, if you wanted me to go way back, my first job, I worked in professional baseball with the Texas Rangers in the visiting clubhouse for 2 years. Then I worked at AT&T for 16 and a half years, and before they told me you downsized. Then I went to a law firm, I worked there, and unfortunately I got hurt and was on disability, and they terminated me. And then I went to the state, and I was doing financial work both at the law firm and AT&T in the state. In the state, I had another operation and I was on disability, and again, they terminated me when I was on disability. So right now I'm retired, but I have background in finance.
Okay.
And one of the things that I like to do, I was involved years ago in Morristown on the recreation committee for over 20 years. So, I like to get involved back with the recreation department, because I have some ideas for Burnsville, for the kids. Trips and functions that can be done for the kids. So I've done that.
Great, that was gonna be my next question of what you were interested in.
Maybe last.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, any last points on like any recreation ideas, or like she was saying about, just broadly, like, any committee you prefer to be on?
Well, I like recreation if it could be, if it's available, because like I said, I still have some friends from former players that, from when I worked with the Rangers, and, still have some connections. So hopefully, if I'm on the council, we can arrange maybe, contacting like, the new recreation director, I can work with him, maybe contacting Yankees or Mets. Or not just, baseball, but football, have, maybe a former player come out and give a mini clinic to the kids. Or maybe do like the old days where the town, I don't know if Burnsville does it, but they used to do it in other towns. They'd buy a bunch of tickets for the bleachers at Yankee Stadium and take the whole Little League organization out to the stadium for a day game. Something like that, just to get the kids that play the Little League, you have them go to a game and get the feel of seeing a real live game, because some of those kids don't have the opportunity. And you have to open it up to everybody. And that's something I like to do.
I noticed that you have a lot of volunteer experience in Morristown. Can you tell us about, other than rec, like, what do you think about how Morristown was, I guess, when you lived there? And compared to now?
Well, like I said, I was involved on the recreation committee for a long time, and I did volunteer with, a lot of different candidates running for office. And I did do, volunteer work. I did a couple volunteer things. One was my daughter, she wanted to raise money for, started out with the Oprah Winfrey Foundation, but that panned out to the Children's Miracle Network. We raised money on the internet, getting items from celebrities and sports figures. We raised over $4,000. Then a couple of years later, a friend of mine who had, he was building a unit at Morristown Memorial, NICU unit, in honor of his daughter, who, she was born in Morristown. She got sick. Morristown didn't have a NICU unit. She was transferred to New York, Columbia, and she died because there was no NICU. So he was gonna have a fundraiser. I volunteered to help him, and I did the same thing, and I think we raised over $20,000. So I have the time, like I said. I'm willing to get my hands dirty and do things. I mean, if you come by my yard in the spring and summer, you'll see me out there all dirty. I don't mind getting dirty.
We don't get you
I
dirty.
think you grow tomatoes? I think I remember growing them. No?
We good?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
On stuff. All right, I'm Charles Rom, Tower Mountain Drive. So, Burnsville is just, in my mind, like really quintessential American community. And it's the one that's dearest to my heart and my wife's heart. We got married here, and we helped us out, we were just talking about before, actually, 14 years ago, 15 years ago. And, we baptized 2 of our kids here, and most importantly, we chose to move here and raise all 3 of our kids here several years ago after moving from elsewhere in New Jersey. It's such a unique town. There's a walkable, compact, historic downtown. There's architectural and natural beauty across all these buildings, mountain wall, but most importantly, there's a community that's both really tightly knit, but also somehow welcoming to newcomers, which for us as newcomers the last few years has been really amazing. It's just really amazing. And it's hard to find a place like this. I've lived in half a dozen states and I've done anything like this. I'm sure most people in this room haven't been in a community at all like this. But this really ideal community is at risk. We have some challenges. There's vacant storefronts downtown and they're increasing. Tenants are unsure of whether to take on new leases due to their future assumed properties. New families, many of us probably have friends and families that want to move to town, but just simply can't find places to move to. So this ideal community, one that my wife and grandparents moved to in the 1960s, has some challenges for us. But that's okay, there's always challenges, and there's a path forward. And the path forward starts with development. And that starts with figuring out how can we figure out a solution that works for most of the people, most of the time. Go around listening to everyone, we're going to not get 100% of the people happy 100% of the time. Most of the people, most of the time, will find aid for it. And we have to, in doing so, we have to respect that people build their memories here over decades, while allowing space for people to create new memories for this generation and next generation to create new memories. But it's not just development. No, there are other issues at play. We have to keep Bernardsville affordable for people who move to town as they're considering other options. We have to keep it safe. Right, free from crime, and we have to make it a fun place to live. And great to have Yankees and Mets players who make it fun. So all those things are what we need to do. So, but yeah, how can I help? When I was asked to consider it, I was like, what can I possibly do here? You all are doing a great job. But I thought back, okay, there's a couple of things throughout my career where maybe I could be of assistance. As an executive at a large telecommunications company, I spent a lot of my career bringing people together over complex, difficult, detailed projects. As senior director of corporate development at this company, and is responsible for projects that affected billions of dollars and thousands of people, require building consensus and create action. For that, I was an investor in New York, investing hundreds of millions of dollars at a time, bringing investment communities together to create outcomes that matter and getting everyone's consensus to that. And I began my career as at a public policy research institute in Washington, D.C., getting into the details. So I really think what maybe I can help with on the development side is just bringing folks together and getting into the weeds of the data so that you know which levers to pull, keep folks, keep each side reasonably satisfied. It's not just that, not just development, I should say. Spent most of my career in finance, so have some ability to look at a budget and say, hey, there's some ways we can, as a fresh set of eyes, create some optimal value for the citizens. Public safety have had a productive and working relationship with Chief Reverend, who was here earlier. Actually, the last time I addressed the council was that on that issue in 2023, so we'd like to continue that. And on recreation, has spent the last couple of years in the board of Summers Terrace Ball Club. We'd love to continue the great work that organization is doing and expand to other areas. So look, in sum, we have a really great downtown. We have to preserve our charm, but we have to do enough development to retain the character. And we have to do it in a way that brings enough folks together to move forward. And I just want to close. Thanks for everyone for their time here. Thanks everyone who serves, works for. That's the kind of the birds over. So it's amazing what you all do there. Thanks for everybody.
Okay, thank you.
We can start again. You already kind of addressed the issues. I think I asked Mike about the 2 issues, so I don't think anything like that. I actually maybe ask you then talk about building consensus. I would just love to hear maybe ideas on how we can engage the community. We talk a lot about trying to use different technologies or different ways to bring the community into conversations, particularly around issues. So we'd love to hear if you have any ideas or how your strategy would be.
But yeah, my approach to these big decisions is get all the data first, right? And I think we're talking about maybe engaging a polling firm that can help consider the quantitative side of that to bring in what everything's all stack up.
And we need that as the base foundation, but data is kind of useless without context. So I would take that and I would go to folks, have listening sessions, maybe, you know, if you want to call them focus groups, about many versions of that. So that we can then say, okay, here are 3 or 4 key issues that came in a survey. What do you think about this? And really, what's that mean when we apply it to this thing? I know you said you want, you know, slightly more development or not this, but what's that mean when you choose from A or B? Because that's what we really got to take the quantitative data, distill down, put it in context, and then create a way that actually creates a turn of opinion into decision inputs. That's how I would do it. Basically, take the quantitative data and then use it through the conversations we have through the community. Thank you.
Yeah, as far as committees, I know you touched on finance. I know, you know, you talked about, you know, being passionate about the redevelopment issue, any like committees or other areas you specifically want to be involved in.
Yeah.
Including liaison, you know.
Yeah,
Stuff.
The liaison committees, I think, you know, I mean, I obviously want to listen from you all here where the needs are, because I know you all are on to those committees, so we want to be helpful where I can get of help. On the liaison committees, you know, things like rec, also helpful, setting for my background with Somerset Hills, Somerset Hills Ball Club. Would be one of those that I'd say I focus on. I'm not sure I'm gonna get the Yankees there though, so, yeah, but that would be a good area to focus on. I think on the standing committees within the council too, also finance would be front center, I think, for some of my background, and then an area like public works, you know, would be probably another to consider, given its importance to our budget and the maintenance of our community. Awesome. Okay.
What is your favorite thing about Bernardsville?
It's summer. I like when my kids eat. Look, I'll say this, you know, when we lived in Branchburg before, right? And we love Branchburg. My wife grew up there, grew up here. One of the things that we missed a little bit about Branchburg was the lack of this really compact, walkable downtown. And you know, people say like, why is that valuable? The reason is because, you know, when you go to the coffee shop, you run into somebody and you see them and you say, hey, that's why it's valuable. You can't avoid people, which is good, because then we have to work together as a community. We aren't in little bubbles. So that's what we love about it. It's the little town that we're all here working together as part of one team, and that's what we do. So I say the downtown, you know.
Small town, big community.
Exactly, like the first, right?
Good, all right, thank you. Thank you.
See if I can do this without my notes, but may have to cheat a little bit. Good evening, thank you for your time. Rich Trainer, I live at 95 Ambar Place. I've been a proud resident of Bernardsville for 18 years. My family actually goes way back though. I think I have Mike beat by 1 generation, 5 generations back, to my great-great-grandfather who emigrated from Ireland in the 1850s. Worked for the Seanies, and then his son, my great-grandfather, was the first fire chief of the volunteer fire department. So I've said, you know, I love Bernardsville. I grew up in Mendham, but spent a lot of time coming here as a kid. I've got my wife Amy, who is a paraprofessional at Bedwell. She's been working there for about 7 or 8 years now, and loves it. And I've got 3 kids. Two oldest boys are in college, and my daughter is a junior at high school. Coincidentally, she turned 17 today, and I'm happy and really nervous to say that she passed her driving test. So just keep your eyes open. I'm an attorney by trade. For the last 15 years, I was in-house in the life sciences industry, working for med device and pharmaceutical companies. Before that, I spent a little over a decade as a land use attorney in New Jersey. So I have a really strong foundation in municipal and land use law. Let's see, and then, so when I left practicing land use, I always enjoyed it. Did a lot of work with developers. I know we did a lot of redevelopments, we did a lot of affordable housing stuff, working with municipalities, working on tax and financing districts. So, you know, obviously the bread and butter variances, all that. When I decided to go in-house, I kind of felt a little bit of a void that I kind of missed doing some of that. So I volunteered to be on the board of adjustment. So I've been on the Board of Adjustment now for, I think, 13 years. Don't quote me on that, because I think it was around 2012. I kind of lost track. But I've loved being on the Board of I'm the vice chair of the board right now. It's been a great experience. I think I've added a lot of value. But quite honestly, I think I can give a lot more to the town than that. And there's only so many side yard variances that you can kind of sit through in your life before saying, okay, I think I can have a little bit more. So I always tell people there's two kinds of attorneys. There's litigators and there's deal makers. I was not a litigator. Litigators, in my experience, they tend to fight, they tend to go, butt heads, and there's a winner and a loser. I was always by nature a deal lawyer. I look for compromise, look for ways there could be a win-win solution. And that always kind of defined me professionally in terms of how I approach my work. So I think as a board member, as potentially as a council member, I think you'll find I'm very collaborative. I have a very respectful, even-keeled demeanor, and that's kind of how I approach things. In terms of like my thoughts about the town and sort of what I would give to the council, I think the council's done a really tremendous job the last, in sort of the foreseeable past. I think the redevelopment zones have been a great, particularly Quimby Lane. I thought that was just, like I said to the development committee, it was visionary, and at the same time, it was so obvious. It was like, how did we not think about this 50 years ago, that this should be the center of town? To have sort of a pedestrian center, where you can have residential, retail, parks, open space, all close to the train station. I mean, it just makes so much sense. So I was ecstatic when I saw it go through, and I will say I've been disappointed that it seems to have lost a little bit of momentum. And I know it's not the council's fault. I know there's a lot of, things that go into that. But I think personally, that's something I would love to see reinvigorated and sort of put a lot of commitment behind that. I think the Palmer project, I was very disappointed that the planning board, I thought it was a great idea to have that as a redevelopment zone. I know that it was sort of out of your hands and it went to the zoning board. I was very disappointed in the zoning board's decision. I won't say, maybe on the record, I shouldn't say the faults that I have with that, both from a factual and legal standpoint. So I was a little disappointed in that. And my fear is that, again, a lot of this stuff is momentum, and you don't want potential redevelopers coming to town thinking that the town is not a place where they can come and get a fair, decent reception and work as partners. So I think the town's gonna have to work a little bit to make sure that we can get past that and hopefully get that redevelopment back on track as well as Quimby Lane. So I think that's kind of all I wanted to say. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah.
The first question.
So, first of all, thanks for being on your sort of 17th birthday. It's pretty amazing.
Trust me, she doesn't even notice that I'm not.
So obviously you have a lot of great expertise on redevelopment and talk about that. I would love to just hear maybe a second issue that you really feel the borough needs to address, or, any other kind of pressing issue.
I think recreation is always a big one. Everybody always talks about recreation. I think the town's done a really good job of sort of slowly but surely improving. I mean, I can go back 18 years, at least personally, and see all the improvements that have been, especially on the polo grounds. I think that's been great. And so I've seen good, steady incremental progress on redevelopment. I know the lighting issue at the high school is a big deal. I'm all for that. I think it's a great idea. It's kind of amazing that we have temporary lights, and like every other town probably, in New Jersey has permanent ones. A little concerned about the cost. So I get, and I don't know all that goes into that. So, that's sort of part of me is also very fiscally responsible. So I'm always gonna say, that's a great idea. Let's get lights, but at the same time, let's make sure we don't, blow the budget on something and have some other part of town that goes, that we don't take care of. I know behind the high school has been an issue for a long time. So there's still a lot to do in the recreational side of things, but I'm encouraged by the town. I think you don't have to do it all at once. I think as long as you keep taking small bites at the apple and keep making improvements, I think that's the way to do that. And open space, I think, is another issue that, comes up from time to time. I just sat through the Meadowbrook Farm subdivision application, and I think there's gonna be an awesome opportunity. I think the timing may be right to do something, and there may be some reception on their front to doing something with a sort of an easement or selling that property. So I think that could be something exciting that happens in the next couple of years. Obviously, it's not completely within the town's control. But I think, and I know the town has been sort of squirreling away money for years with their eye on the property. So I think it's important that the town make sure that we, you know, we really nail that one. So, those are a couple wishes that come
Thank you.
along.
Yeah, on redevelopment, you already made, a couple points there. Is there anything else we could be focusing on, maybe as a town that's not like necessarily like redevelopment that maybe furthers the whole like idea of revitalization? Anything else you want to add? I think the obviously rec rules.
Well, I was really happy to see going over the train tracks. That, I thought that mural was awesome. I think when I came here, I think I kept putting that in as a suggestion. I'm not taking credit. So a lot of people have that same suggestion, but even things like that, like simple little things that don't cost a lot of money, that beautify the town, and that, that was literally the ugliest eyesore as you drove into town from one of the main entrances of the town. And you just saw these like high voltage and it looked like a jail. And so that, little things like that. So, looking for opportunities along those lines. Traffic in the center of town has been an issue forever. I don't know if there's a simple solution for that. I've always heard it's the DOT issue and that we can't do anything because it's the DOT. So part of me is like, okay, I guess we have to accept that. And then part of me is like, can't someone just go down and sit in Trenton and just bang on someone's door, like, just sit there like write letters every day until they fix the timing on that light, because a lot of it's just timing on the light, and it's not gonna completely fix it, but I think it should improve it. So looking for simple, basic things that don't cost a lot of money, that can make big improvements to town.
Christine?
Yes, the same question that I asked, I didn't get to ask. What's your favorite thing about Bernardsville?
Well, I had a little bit of time to think about it, so that I love the fact that, yes, the downtown is great, I love that, although I do think it could be better. When I think of the downtown, I think about what it is and what it could be. And so I'm really excited about what downtown Bernardsville could be. I love the fact that, outside of the downtown, it's such a beautiful area. I mean, the mountain and going to the Audubon Society. So parks, the sort of path systems, we've taken advantage of that. We're taking paths through the woods. But, and even just driving by Meadowbrook Farm. So I love that sort of sense of, downtown small community, but with this beautiful bucolic, area around it. So I think that's why we loved it here. All right, thank you.
For taking the time to be here. And we have to adjourn to executive. So do I have a motion?
To adjourn.
Second, favor?
Hi.
You're welcome to stay within your room, visitors and whatever. Hopefully this won't take too long.
So we're recording, we're unmuted with video, we're good.
Okay. Other than say, this was not an easy decision, as you can tell, I mean, we're gone for a long. You know, we had really, it's very refreshing that we had 3 people come forward so quickly and be willing to serve their community. It's been, you know, I know in the past, we've been struggling to get volunteers and to have people help in the community. So to see just 3 passionate, qualified people willing to step up and help their town is really encouraging. So that, I think, is worth noting. And we hope that if you're not the one selected, then you still will engage with us and we will find a place for you. Don't you worry. There's always openings on our boards and committees, and, you know, we'd love to see people help us out with, there's a lot to do, a lot to be done, and it helps to have people involved. Thank you all. All right.
Yes, I move to appoint Rich Trainer to the Borough Council to fill the unexpired term of Chad McLean ending December 31st, 2025.
One second. Roll call, please.
Ms. McCready,
Yes.
Mr. Rivera,
Yes.
Mr. Ruth,
Yes.
Mr. Mara,
Yes.
Mr. Zazarino.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, would you ask for?
Yeah. Thank you. You're young yet. Yeah, I know. Nikki. We did.
The swearing in.
Okay.
We'll get on the next here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're on there?
All right, you put your left hand. And raise your right hand. And then do the, and I'm just going to repeat this. I, Rich Trainer, do solemnly swear.
I, Rich Trainer, do solemnly swear
That I will support the Constitution of the United States and the state of New Jersey.
that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the state of New Jersey,
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same.
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
And to the government established in the United States and in this state.
and to the government established in the United States and in this state,
Under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people,
And that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly.
and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly
Perform all the duties of council member according to the best of my ability.
perform all the duties of council member according to the best of my ability,
And that I will not use my office to grant preferential treatment.
and that I will not use my office to merit preferential treatment,
To receive personal gain, favor, or advantage not available to the general public, so help me God.
nor to seek personal gain, favor, or advantage not available to the general public, so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. This is like my seat, a lot of times before it does. So, I don't, do you want me to sit there right now or? Yeah, over there?
No.
It's gonna sit on that.
I just, what we have to, resign from the board.
Yes, I spoke to them, I spoke to Dave and told him that I was doing this, and so he's aware of it and said that, if I got appointed and that he understood.
All right.
Fortunately, they have. What's in the agenda?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thanks.
Okay, we have minutes to approve from January 6th. I'll move to approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Now have our first open session for any items not listed for a public hearing. So if anyone in the public would like to be heard, please, either come to the exit or raise your hand on Zoom. And state your name and your address.
John Donahue, 16 South Street. I just wanted to, I guess, surface something we've done way back when, probably before COVID, with the multifamily housing, we actually inventoried all of them, and we're going through the process of making sure they were compliant with the 1970, I guess, when they were, disallowed, so I wonder if you could maybe, I know personnel have changed and exactly I recall that, but we did, we can revisit that and revive that again, I think that'd be helpful. So, alleviate some of the stacking and make sure the houses that are multifamily are actually permitted to be.
Yes, thank you, John, and I did actually find the old file, with all the pictures. And I passed it on to zoning because none of them were aware of it. So, they're having Bill go through the list, so thanks for bringing it back up.
Yeah, when it was just a conversation, it was kind of dawned on us, they got lost in the shuffle with COVID and everything, I suppose. But yeah, thanks for volunteering, congratulations, Rich.
Thank
You
you.
know, it was great to have 3 people, I've seen even our colleagues on the other side of Al will speak, part of the volunteers, so.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
Thanks, John.
Anyone else?
Sure. Pat Ryan, 66 Anderson Hill Road. Unfortunately, before I speak, I have to let you know that the following statements are made in my capacity as a private citizen and not in my capacity as a Board of Education member. These statements also do not represent the board or its individual members and solely represent my own personal opinion. I know that this is not necessarily a time when you as a council are obliged to respond to what I say, so I really don't expect a response. In the 22 years that Paul, Liam, and I have lived here, Bernardsville has always been a multicultural community. We have families who have been here multiple generations and those who have more recently settled here. And we feel that Bernardsville is richer and stronger for it. I've come here because of anxiety and concern in our community about the recent federal changes in immigration policy and enforcement, so that our community knows if we stand committed to protecting and serving all of its members, including the many immigrants who chose to live, work, and visit here. I've come to ask some questions that I hope you will consider making public comment to, so that the people who live here will understand that they are welcome. I've read the policies that were forwarded to me, and I know that some of them overlap with federal and state, but this is what I wanted to ask. Do the police in Bernardsville, and I know the answer to this, but not everybody does, ask about immigration status when they interact with the public? Do they also enforce immigration-related laws or otherwise participate in immigration-related enforcement? Also, have officers been trained in immigration-related law enforcement, and does such enforcement fall within the authority granted to law enforcement in the state of New Jersey? Is our town doing anything to protect our citizens from those who might represent themselves fraudulently as federal law enforcement and who might indeed be malign actors? Finally, I respectfully ask, so that there'll be no question about it, that the council and police make a verbal as well as written assurance to the members of our community that they will protect their lawful rights under the 4th and 5th Amendments to the United States Constitution, regardless of their immigration status. Thank you very much.
Hey, so I'm Mary Crane Bailey, I'm your librarian. And I just wanted to highlight some upcoming library news. One, we have mini golf on Saturday. It is a really fun day. Family day is, I think, $5 a person. We have free crafts, we have free snacks, and then we transition into adult night. And those tickets are $40 per person, but they have 2 drinks and wonderful food. So we have mini golf holes, 18 of them take over the entire library. We have a lot of great sponsors and a lot of great support from our friends doing this.
That's Friday, you said?
Saturday, all day, then there's a break, then there's an evening event, and there's a great basket auction. They have wonderful baskets, and I think they have close to 50 of them. Lots of good stuff, so I hope that your friends will come out. We also have a copy of the police officer on Wednesday morning. That's always a very nice event. They're coming and doing some stories, and they're doing some education and safety awareness for our little ones and as well as their caregivers. And the big thing is also too, that I understand you learned about our renovation board, that it was a surprise last meeting, and I couldn't be here Tuesday to address questions then. But we've been working over the past year and a half on a strategic plan and capital plan and meeting with space planners and getting quotes for LED lighting that was recommended in the energy audit for cost savings as well as energy efficiency. To improve accessibility with the door button on our interior doors between the foyer and the library, which will also hopefully help our HVAC. To create those meeting rooms that people want for business, for work, for tutoring, for their high school projects, and to create a more magical children's area. So we're shifting around some of our collection. We are shrinking some of them a little bit. Now that we belong to me, we can get most materials very quickly so that we don't need to have one event that we used to. So we'll be shrinking some of those collections, putting in 3 big meeting rooms or 1 bigger meeting room, 2 little meeting rooms. And flexing our space, updating soft furnishing, and recycling a lot of our shelving. So we'll be keeping all of our powder coated sticks. So if you guys have any questions about that, ask the mayor to present it soon. And yes.
Is the police coffee, is that this Wednesday or following Wednesday?
I'm pretty sure it's this Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's in the morning. You're welcome.
Yeah, I think we, for February's meeting, Fran has asked, to do a presentation on the strategic plan, so if you are up for that.
Definitely.
Yeah, good.
Thanks.
Would that be the work session of this meeting?
Yeah, so that we can, so the public can see it too. I think people get excited when they see. And then when you close the library to do it, or whenever, they'll know what it's for and be excited.
Yeah.
Instead of going, well.
No, we'll still be part of the library. We'll be doing video. We'll be posting our notes and.
Yeah.
By the way, I want to amend my answer. My favorite thing about Bernardsville is. Great, it's awesome.
Thank you. Anyone else? Nobody on? Okay, I'm closing the public session. Then I have to open a public hearing on ordinance for 2025, 2013, 2025 salaries and wage ordinance for non-contractual employees of the Borough of Bernardsville. And this is really setting the salary ranges. It's not specific people's positions. Anyone like to be heard on this? No. Then I will close the public hearing.
Yeah, I move to pass ordinance 2025-2013 on a final reading and adopt as published. Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Green,
Yes.
Mr. Rivera,
Yes.
Mr. Ruth,
Yes.
Mr. Trainer,
Should I abstain on these since I haven't had a chance to look at them?
Yeah, you can abstain.
I'll abstain.
Mrs. Mayor,
Yes.
Mr. Zazarino,
Yes.
All right. I'm gonna move the next one.
Remove that ordinance 2025-2014 and ordinance repealing ordinance 2024-2011 entitled an ordinance vacating a portion of Bernards Ave adjacent to block 114, lot 1, be introduced by title, passed on first reading, published according to law, and a public hearing be scheduled for a meeting beginning at 7 p.m. Monday, February 24th, 2025. So.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And abstain, one abstain. Moving on to the resolutions, we have 2525 through 2538. Any that you have questions or not? Again, we are required to have the resolution for accepting our affordable housing number by the end of this month.
Yes.
And then the next thing is we have to have a plan done by the end of June.
Well, actually, the next thing is that, for judgment action.
Ah, okay.
But, and it's supposed, certified 2 copies of the resolution on the borough website. And I've got to file it, will be on file with the Affordable Housing, the program's website.
All right, but that doesn't mean this is ever locked into this number because there are credits and other things.
Right, this is just our first.
Right.
Then we'll get credits and hopefully we'll have it, cut the number down.
Okay.
13.
Yeah, so it's our. Yeah,
Don't get it, it's always getting brushed up on it, but all I know is that it's constantly evolving and changing, and it's just a nightmare to keep up with.
it is. Any other ones? Anybody wants to, I think we've had these all last week, so. Right, so move us on.
I'll move the resolutions 25-25 to 25-38, be adopted.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Zazarino,
Yes.
Ms. Amara,
Yeah,
Mr. Finger,
Abstain.
Mr. Ruiz,
Yes.
Mr. Rivera,
Yes.
Mr. McCready.
Yes.
All right, mayor's update. I did have a meeting in December with, a number of the business owners on Quimby and Mill Street regarding parking. That's been an issue down there with the demand now that so many businesses are up and running, so, we're working on that. And a lot of it is trying to work out sharing agreements. I attended the menorah lighting at the Bernardsville Center on December 29th. So I think that's the 3rd year that they've done that there. I had a meeting with Charlie, I think he says it, Kacici from King of Kings, and that does the Tuesday feeding program that we do over at the field house and in the summer at the Hour lot. So they're looking for more ways to get involved with some of the other feeding programs. So we were talking about trying to get a meeting together with some of the food bank people and the feeding programs and see if we can't get a more unified feeding program for people that are food insecure. I attended a seminar on the Mayor's Wellness Campaign Community Hub. They've now launched a website that's got lots of resources and contacts so that each town can talk to each other and share ideas. So I think that'll be very helpful. And I did submit the application for 2024 for our Mayor's Wellness Campaign. Hopefully we're not going to make a healthy town, but hopefully we'll stay at a healthy town to watch. So I think we get the results in March. I attended a New Jersey Conference of Mayors board meeting, did a ribbon cutting for the new owner at the Bar Method over at the Municipal Center. And I attended Somerset County Business Partnership, of which we are a member. They had a business mixer at the R.W. Johnson Somerset. And that's where I met Ann, who wants to do that program that I hope to bring about. This week is, we did have a John and Len's retirement lunch after, what was it? How many years? 41 for John.
John.
Yeah, I know, which was a lovely event, and Christine was there and Al was there, so it was, I think they were very pleased, and we will miss them. We had another meeting of the Somerset Hills Public Safety Committee meeting, which are the mayors of the Somerset Hills. I think at our next meeting, we're gonna have a presentation on the use of drones for first responders. That, I guess they're out there now available, they're connected to dispatch so that they immediately get sent out when the call comes in and you get live photos of the scene. So before the first responders even get there, they can anticipate what they're gonna need. So we're talking about if there's a way that somehow we could share something, a program like that, because it's rather expensive. We also talked about, an Oprah issue with body cameras, that evidently a lot of people are putting in Oprah requests for body camera footage that they then post to embarrass people, you know, when like somebody's drunk and falling down. And so I think it's actually gone to the Supreme Court now as to how they can control the use of Oprah requests for body cameras. You know, something that's good and people take, what do you do? It is restaurant week in Bernardsville up until the 31st, so check out which restaurants. You go to the Main Street Bernardsville.org and see which restaurants are participating and what their menus are. I think there's 7 that are participating, so. And also a reminder about mini golf, and Main Street is, I think, the title sponsor for the mini golf, so please to do that. And that's what I have. We don't have an administrator's report, it's just still sick. Other than, do I have a motion to accept the department monthly reports?
So.
I'll second.
All in favor? Opposed? Abstains. Abstention. The cross acceptance on items of business, I guess, do I have to do a motion actually appointing the people?
Yes, you have to do a motion appointing the people, and they want a point person appointed, and they want a letter from the borough saying will participate in the cross acceptance process.
I think we did the letter. I think Nancy did the letter.
Yeah, so they have, so yes, they do want a name of the committee, as well as the point person.
So we said Denise Filardo would be the point person.
Makes sense.
And then John Zabo would be on the committee, and I've asked Bob Graham for someone from the planning board. I don't have it there yet. I assume it'll probably be him, but I don't know for sure. So can we just say planning board representative?
Yeah, why don't we just do a motion saying.
Okay. All right, so
I move that we appoint Denise, what's Denise? Bilardo, John Zabo, and to be named planning board member to the county's county.
Yeah,
The county cross
And
exception.
also then Denise as the.
as the point person.
Denise is the point person for that. Okay.
So.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So you get to vote on that one.
Yeah.
Don't want this, but
This is, you know, the state is redoing the statewide.
Yeah, I think I make that.
Do.
Yeah.
Connect with theirs. Correspondence, we did have the environmental commission report, which I think was talked about at the last meeting, but we had the actual copy of it, and they did get quite a bit done, so we keep that every year. It's part of their charge to give us a year-end report. Unfinished business, do we have anything? I believe we have new business.
We do. I received a telephone call from Judge Harris's, the joint municipal court judge, and she's been subpoenaed in the case filed against the borough, which is very unusual.
Subpoena judge?
Yes,
Really?
she's not happy about it. But she did speak to the assignment judge, Judge Shanahan, who said that they could depose her, however, she had to be represented by counsel. It can't be the municipal attorney, and it can't be the JIP attorney. He said we both have conflicts. I'm just happy that he said that. So in any event, we can ask the JIP to appoint another attorney, but I doubt they will. So my recommendation is that you authorize Nancy to retain somebody. It should be a matter of hours, 3 hours maybe. Because she said she doesn't remember anything. She's handled hundreds of domestic violence complaints since then, and they all run together.
What's the suit, Jim? You can't disclose?
Yeah, it's a suit against the police department.
Okay.
So. As I say, that I think we should do that for her. I think we have to do it for her. So I suggest that's how we deal with it for the lease season. Because I think the deposition scheduled for February 12th, We don't need to get into it. So I think the best thing to do is delegate the answer to the authority to hire somebody for up to $3,000.
Okay,
So moved.
so moved,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thanks.
Final chance to speak, last open session for the public. No takers? All right, then I will close the public sessions. We do have, I just have an update from Matt, so I guess we could do that in closed session.
Yes.
Very quickly, so it won't be a big deal, and it won't take too long, so, do I have a motion to adjourn to executive session?
And during the end.
Yeah, to discuss, I guess it's contracts. And we will not come back and or make any. So, yes, all in favor?
Yes.
Thank you, public, for being here.